Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Being a student is really hard from start until they are graduate. It is because they have so many dreams that they want to accomplish, and they think it's best for them. For example, in the national examination, they want to have a best grade in that test. So as a result, they will be getting the acknowledged from the others as the smartest student among others. But in reality, is only smart is enough to become the best student? In 2021, our country will change the form of national examinations to become the national assessment. And this national assessment is really different from the old one because these methods not really measure how smart students, not only measure how smart students and measure how memorizing skills of the students, but it also measure how critical thinking, logical thinking, and also the characteristic of the students. The government just realized about the lackness of the national examinations before, and they want to change that system to upgrade the educations in this country. So because of that, I want to tell you about the three privilege of this national assessment if it will be held in 2021. The first one, I want to tell you about the assessing the characteristic in this national assessment. That's a really important thing. And secondly, I want to tell you about the national assessment will assess study environment in the school. And lastly, the national assessment is a really great one to decreasing the possibilities of cheating among the students. So first one, I want to describe the national assessment that will assessing the characteristic. Characteristic like resilience, discipline, and so many other good characters is a really important things. Beside the exact knowledge, we know that we can imagine some students with a good genius brain, but they have a bad characters. It's really get hard for them to getting respect from the others. And also, if maybe they have some dreams to accomplish and they want to accomplish that, it's really hard for them in the middle of time because they will be easier to surrender or easier to be lazy. So good characteristic can be beneficial for students themselves and also for the environment. Based on the sims.co.uk and the article inside of that website titled "Is Characteristic as Important as Knowledge?" the author says that building characters can make students learning how they can make their own choices and they can learning by their own mistake. So through that process, they will be getting and develop their inner strength, and then they will be responsible adult in the future. So good characteristic, good attitude cannot be ruled out in this point. Secondly, I want to tell you about the assessing the study environment of this national assessment. Study environment like facilities and infrastructure of the schools can affectful and can be impactful for the students. Why it can be? Because these facilities of the schools can increasing the interesting of the students in learning something, and they will be happier to learning something. Based on the observer called Wilder, he says that a good study environment will enhance the interesting in the learning for the students, and also they can more likely to be focuses on the material that they delivered by the teacher. And in the same time, assessing this aspect can interpret how good enough the system of the school that already apply to their students. So it can be really sure assessing this study environment can upgrading the system of the school or each school in each region of this country. And thirdly or lastly, I want to tell you about the best part of this national assessment is about decreasing the possibility of cheating. Decreasing possibility of cheating is a really good change that will be getting the advantage in that national assessment. Why it can be occurred? It can be occurred because this national assessment relies on the methods called PISSA and TIMSA. So based on the Indra Karyasmiaji educational observer, he says that these methods relies on a critical logical thinking, and reasonable answer. So for each student, they must have that ability that can answer each question of the test. So we can imagine that every student will have a different answer, and it's really hard for them to copy and pasting the answer among their peers. So it's a really great the great change of this national assessment if it will be held, because it can upgrade the integrity of the students too at the same time. In summary, this national assessment is really good beneficial for this country to upgrading the education. It is not only to measure how good grades of the student, or maybe just skilling or memorizing skill that can be measured, but it can be more than that. It can be measured how good characteristic of the students, and also it can measure how study environment will be impactful for the students. And lastly, the best part, it can build the integrity through the methods of the national assessment that will be decreasing the possibility of cheating. So I will ask something to you. Are you really sure want to ignoring this idea and let our education system undeveloped? Education is really crucial, especially if you want to see the development of our beloved country. Thank you for your attention and appreciation. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.